make sure we're engaging you every day. So I will have Ashley Zohorian in the studio with me here momentarily. But we want to just, again, make sure we're connecting with you each day and talk about some of the things. Today, we're really going to talk a little bit about some of the things we're going to be trying to do here at CMAX to stay engaged with you. We'll be talking with Ashley a little bit about how does this impact our families. Because for all of us, things have dramatically changed in the last 2 weeks, but in many ways, even in the last 3 days. So we hope to be able to just keep engaging with you. We have some people we are lining up to be able to meet with you, and we're working with a bit of a skeleton crew today as we try to get this going. We even have interns taking some of the roles here, so we hope that everything goes smoothly so that we can continue to be able to share with you what's going on here. And with that, we've got Ashley here. Ashley is the CEO and president of CMAX Media, also of Something Like Real Films. Good to have you here, Ashley.
Thanks, Tom. It's good to be using our resources in a hopefully helpful way to bring some positivity in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, great. And for those of you guys who don't know, Ashley is my boss, which is also pretty cool here, but I'm sure I can also get critiqued when we're done. So let's just kind of start with, okay, 2 weeks ago with your family, what was family life like? And then we'll move to 72 hours ago or maybe even less as we go with it.
Sure. Well, for our family, 2 weeks ago was getting ready for a big trip to Hawaii for Raymond and I.
That's right.
And 2 of our kids were going to one set of grandparents and 2 were going to the other set. So we were building them up and gearing them up for how exciting it was going to be to go as a 18-month-old and an 8-year-old to one set of grandparents and a 4- and 6-year-old to the other. But daily life was a lot of routine.
Right.
And a lot of, we homeschool, but we use supplemental classes. And a lot of kids being able to have a bit more freedom. We have
Right.
realized in recent times just how much we really have not harped on them on hygiene.
Wow.
To the extent that
Good
is
opportunities
necessary.
here.
Yes, they're very fascinated by this. Take your shoes off when you come in the house every time.
Good stuff.
Wash your hands and face every time you come in the house. Those basic precautions that they're just like, why, Mom? Why?
Getting them to stop touching their faces.
Yes.
Is that possible?
Stop touching faces. Stop
touching each other's faces?
Stop dragging hands across the aisles in stores and then touching their little sister's face.
Oh,
These are
good.
very difficult concepts.
I think we have, our kids are a little bit older than yours, but I think we still have that a little bit because there's still so many things that are fun to touch. So, okay, so a little bit like that, us, similar things, dealing with the, I think one of the big things for us, because we, like you, homeschool, and we're kind of all homeschoolers now, but a lot of us was the transitioning into the extracurricular activities that we're involved in, and then one by one, those are all getting knocked off. Like this season's canceled or this season's postponed, and those little disappointments that come along during that period of time, and then kind of everything stopping. So,
Yep.
So here we are in our diocese, and getting kind of words each day about, okay, this is not going to be able to be offered, this is not going to be able to be offered, and then all at the same time getting stuff from the government as far as how large the groups should be that are getting together. So last 72 hours, what would you say? How did that change go?
I mean, for us at CMAX, it adds an extra layer of complication. While we're getting all the emails from all our kids' teachers about the cancellations and the reschedules, we're also trying to figure out how, with the online streaming that we're able to do and the things we're able to do with the Mass Box for getting kits to kids, what we can do
Right.
to help families at home who are stuck. So the past 72 hours have been insane. We recorded, updates for the Knights of Columbus on financial, what do you do?
Right.
We got set up this morning together to help
Right,
set
that
up
was
to start
great.
streaming masses, which we're hoping to do. Hopefully, fingers crossed, or not fingers crossed, just say a prayer.
Yes.
That we'll be able to stream both Sunday Mass locally,
Right.
which will be great for Hampton Roads. It's wonderful we have the resources that exist with some larger
Right.
organizations. But also, it's just nice to have the local connection.
I agree.
So we'd be able to have Mass from a church, and then hopefully we're seeing one of our priests is trying to get permission to stream Mass from here.
Right.
And to be able to give some longer homilies and messages.
And just for clarity on that, so what we're dealing with right now is all in our diocese, the Diocese of Richmond, and I've also checked the Diocese of Arlington and the Diocese of Raleigh to have all had to suspend Sunday Masses. And because I was like looking at, gosh, we travel to each one of these things to be able to get Mass, and I think that's going to be becoming more common. It starts with removing the obligation for Catholics, the obligation of Sunday Mass, and so that leaves it up to the individuals. And we were actually up in Philadelphia this last week and went to Mass with, I would say, there were probably maybe 40 people when there usually would be 300. But so we've been dealing with that change with it too, and coming here and then down to trying to, how can we do this and how can we still reach out to people with Mass or other services. I know a lot of our parishes are having their doors open for adoration. So there's some things. So anyway, so 72 hours ago, you've got your kids there. How have you been explaining this?
One of the things that we're using this as an opportunity to do is talk with our kids in general about both hygiene and being careful to not share germs.
Okay.
And to do better hand washing, and also about scarcity and responsibility to not be wasteful. One of my largest pet peeves in life has always been waste, and especially food waste.
Right.
So we've stocked up a little bit more than normal, so there are more fun things to eat in the house.
Yes.
So we've been having a lot of conversations about, just because there's a lot of food, don't pig out.
Right.
So we had issues yesterday with a 4-year-old climbing up to get cereal because it was exciting. There was lots of yummy cereal, which isn't usually a free-for-all activity.
I think we were conferencing when that happened.
Yeah, we were conferencing during that. That ended our conference, actually, as somebody caught the 4-year-old climbing on the stove to get to the cereal. Cereal, fruit, a lot of those things were popular items. So we talked with our kids who also have never seen bare shelves. Yes, there are things for hurricanes here, but they had to come to the store with me yesterday. We actually had to go stock up on office supplies. We were not your normal preppers, and cases of paper were not yet sold out at Sam's Club, but cases of toilet paper were. So they had never seen that. They'd never seen a row of empty shelves.
Right.
So being able to talk with them about, you know what, we're very fortunate in the United States that we haven't had to see this before. And no, we don't know what is going to happen. We have faith in God, and we have faith in, what everything will happen to God's glory. But we have to be responsible and cautious too. Right. So we're not going to hoard things, but we are going to be more careful with what we have. So we're not going to peel 8 different oranges to sample 3 of them.
Right.
So
now your kids, now your Mass box people would know most of your kids, or
right.
for that too. So your ages are?
The ages are 18 months, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years. So especially 18 month and 4 years are the ones who are having, no concept of the control of food. So we've talked with them about basically, you're not going to just get snacks whenever you feel like it. We're going to give you your food at meals. We're going to try to not waste. And this is also a practice of discipline in addition to, hey, we should be careful and not waste food right now. Of course, your kids are a little bit on the next bracket.
Right. So we've got 12, 13, 14, and 16. And for us, again, because we homeschool as well. And since a lot of what I can do out of the home too. So that part has not been an immediate adjustment. But like you said, because of our obligation here at CMAX, because we actually are, for whatever God's purpose is, in a position to be able to still connect and reach out to people and hopefully be someone who helps connect each people with some of the things. Sure. And maybe we'll talk about it a little bit on this or on a future broadcast. So we've, I haven't had as much time right now to really engage in what's going on with our kids and a lot of their teachers. Because we do some online things. I'm part of a music school as well too. They're trying to do online teaching with it too. So trying to get all that set up, as well as the discipleship ministry I'm involved in too. And we're trying to do that virtual today. We'll see hopefully how that goes. But I think one of the things for us for the explaining, and I think there is kind of that misconception with homeschooling kids, is that you isolated from everything. A lot of us, we actually probably show them a lot more, maybe more than we should. So for us, and especially with our kids' ages, like you said, we have to remember that God, permitted this. He has the last word on all of this, and that we have to trust in Him. So I think at the same time we let them know this is real. This is real world stuff. This is probably the closest experience they'll get to something which may have been like 9/11 for us,
Sure.
years ago with it too. And then the interesting thing of this happening in the midst of Lent, when we're already in a position of looking at sacrificial things, and now like, okay, you thought you were sacrificing enough, now it's going to be a little bit more. But then I think too, though, just a sense of gratitude that, with everything that's going on, is that we're having more time with our family. We're having more opportunities to talk about real world stuff. But sometimes when you're just in the regular day in and day out stuff, and worry about if this friend's being nice to you or this one's being mean, those are like the main things. You kind of miss the bigger picture sometimes. And so this has been, not that we desire anybody's suffering or whatnot, but it's been a reminder the fragility of life, how much we're not in control, and that we really do need, there's time, God knows what's going on, and that's where we need to be listening. So
I think that's a good wrap-up point on this.
I think it's good too. So
yeah.
I think so. We'll try to keep you all informed. We are going to try to put resources on CMAX and try to connect with you as much as we can.
Yeah.
And just again, please, we're going to be praying for you. Please pray for each other and us, that we fulfill what we're supposed to be doing here too.
So some of the things that we are in the works of doing, just kind of going through our basic projects, we're working on getting local mass streamed. We are going to be having a lot of small discussions like this and just messages of some positivity and reflections, both from us locally and some of the leaders across really the world that we're connected with. Deacon Daryl is working on getting them coordinated to do a series of 2 weeks of short messages of encouragement. We do have new content on CMAX. We just recorded actually Steve Hemler with Cana, who did 2 great talks on apologetics for God in Science and God in Evolution at a local high school, or local middle school. And we recorded those, and those just got up, and we're trying to get like an education track basically of good educational materials for teachers and for students together. On the MassBox front, luckily, because of our planned trip, we ordered everything very early, and our friends at CBN have been helping to get prints done so that we can get boxes out early for people for April to have things to do from home. So across from our nonprofit with Awakening the Domestic Church and the MassBox getting resources, and what we're trying to do with streaming, especially the local and international updates. I mean, we're seeing this as we've built this infrastructure. It's a chance for us to use it now to help people when we are in this social distancing, but not social isolation. So look forward to things to come from us, and we are working on it. We're working with our interns and every resource